Hello, and welcome to E.M.A.N. Effectively Making a Noise. Today's story is Moses sends the 12 spies to Canaan, and it has an extra on it. It's coming from Numbers chapter 13, verses 1 through Numbers chapter 14, verses 45. And it reads, The children of Israel left the region of Mount Sinai and continued their journey for several days through the wilderness of Paran till they came to the southern border of Canaan, to a place called Kadesh. There, according to the word of the Lord, Moses chose 12 men representing the 12 tribes of Israel and sent them forth to spy out the land of Canaan. The names of the 12 spies are all given, but Caleb and Joshua are the two best known to us. Moses instructed, which meant he told or commanded, the 12 men to go into the Negev, or southern country, to make a careful inspection of the land, the people, the cities, the camps, the forests, the crops, and other natural resources. He also asked them to bring some of the fruit of the land with them when they returned. So the 12 men went forth and secretly traveled through the land of Canaan from the south to the north and then back again, taking 40 days for the journey. On the return journey, they came to the brook of Eshcol, where they cut a branch with one cluster of grapes so large that it had to be carried on a pole between two men. They also gathered some fine figs and pomegranates, which mean round red fruits, which they brought back with them. At the end of 40 days, they returned from spying out the land, and they came to Moses and Aaron and to all the children of Israel who were assembled at Kadesh in the wilderness of Paran. The spies brought back word of what they had seen and done, and showed the people the fruit of the land which they had brought. Then some of the spies gave this report to Moses. When we went through the land to which you sent us, truly it flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. But the people who dwell in the land are very strong, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. Then Caleb, a man of great faith and courage, quieted the people before Moses and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But 10 of the men who had gone up with Caleb and Joshua spoke against Caleb's plan, saying, We are not able to go up against the people, for they are much stronger than we are. The land which we traveled through and searched out is a land that devours, which means destroys, its inhabitants. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giant sons of Anak, and we felt like grasshoppers in their sight. Thus they brought to Moses the people an unfavorable report of the land of Canaan. The people were very sad and discouraged when they heard this unfavorable report, and they wept all night. They began to murmur and complain against Moses and Aaron, and they cried, Would God that we had died in the land of Egypt? Or would God that we had died in this wilderness? Why has the Lord brought us into this land only to fall by the sword, and so that our wives and our children should become a prey, which means person harmed or injured by someone? Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt? And the people said to one another, Let us choose a captain, and let us return to Egypt. Moses and Aaron were grieved with the people for their disobedience and unbelief, and Joshua and Caleb pleaded with the people not to rebel against the Lord, but to trust them to bring them safely into the land of Canaan. But the people would not listen to Caleb and Joshua, and wanted to stone them to death. But at this point, the glory of the Lord appeared at the tabernacle, which was a place of worship, of the congregation before all the children of Israel. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying that he would punish the people for their disobedience and unbelief. But Moses prayed to God on behalf of the people, saying, O Lord, pardon, I beseech you, the iniquity of this people, according to the greatness of your mercy, and as you have forgiven this people from Egypt, even unto now. The Lord heard the prayer of Moses and pardoned the people according to his word. But the Lord also decreed, which meant commanded, that none of those who had disbelieved God's promise should live to see the land of Canaan, because they had openly despised the Lord. Then God said to Moses, "But my servant Caleb, because he was of another spirit and followed me faithfully, him will I bring into the land in which he went, and his children shall inherit it." Now, seeing that the Amalekites and the Canaanites lived in the valley, turn tomorrow and go into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. So the children of Israel were turned back from Kadesh to wander in the wilderness for 40 years as punishment for their sinful disobedience and open rebellion against the Lord. For each of the 40 days required to spy out the land, for each day a year, the people were to suffer the results of their iniquity and the Lord's displeasure. All of their number above 20 years of age who had murmured against the Lord were condemned to die in the wilderness before reaching the promised land. The 10 men who had brought an unfavorable report of the land were smitten with the plague and died. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh remained alive because they had brought a good report. Then the people decided they would go up into the hills and fight against the Canaanites and possess the land. But Moses warned them not to do this, because the Lord was not with them. But they did not heed Moses and went up into the hills. However, neither the Ark of the Covenant, which was a decorated chest for tablets of God's law of the Lord, nor Moses departed from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites came down and defeated the Israelites and harried them for a long way into the wilderness, even to E.M.A.N. And that is the end of the story. But now we have an extra. And it is coming from Karen, age 12. And it's called Whiner Warning. So imagine that you're trying to plan a fun game for some little kids. But before the game even starts, the kids start complaining that it's taking too long and the game's going to be dumb anyway. Pretty soon, nobody's having any fun at all. If the kids would have just trusted you to make the game fun, they could have had a great time. But their bad attitudes ruined the whole thing. God had a plan for the Israelites too, but they ruined it with their whining and complaining. To punish them, God didn't let any of the complainers see the land he had promised them. If we have the same bad attitude today, we can miss the good stuff God wants for us. Even when it seems like we have a lot to complain about, we need to trust that God will work everything out the best way possible. Then we can grow closer to Him and set a good example for other people around us. And our question for today is, why is complaining so easy? Why do you think God doesn't like it? Again, why is complaining so easy? Why do you think God doesn't like it? Just leave your answer in the comments and we'll just keep those answers for discussion. Please discuss this with your kids, your small groups. And this is the end of our story. I want everyone to have a blessed, safe, and happy New Year's. I will be coming back next year. This is the last podcast of this year. Everybody have a happy New Year. Peace out.